A very good evening to all of you. You're watching News Tonight. My name is Aditi Nagpal Girotra. Let's get the bulletin rolling with the headlines first. Prime Minister Modi delivers keynote address at high-profile future investment initiative in Riyadh, invites investors to join India's endeavour to create $5 trillion economy. PM also holds summit meeting with Saudi Arabia's King Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud. Both sides agree on Strategic Partnership Council. Vice President unveils 15-point reform charter for a new political normal to ensure better functioning of Parliament. Asks parties to ensure attendance of half of their MPs in Parliament. Proposes review of anti-defection law and whip system while suggesting longer tenure for parliamentary committees. President Ramnath Kovind presents National Corporate Social Responsibility Awards, tells corporates to spend more on the welfare of orphan children and differently abled people. On a visit to Jammu and Kashmir, European MPs team tour different areas of Srinagar. Army officials brief them about the situation on the Kashmir border. MPs meet sarpanches to understand ground reality in the state. And 2 days after the death of ISIS chief Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, American President Donald Trump says an unnamed successor has been killed. US had confirmed killing of ISIS spokesman Abu al-Hassan Mujahir earlier. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday reiterated India's aim of $5 trillion economy. He was delivering a keynote address at the third session of Saudi Arabia's Future Investment Initiative Forum in Riyadh. Speaking at the forum, PM Modi talked about the importance of adequate infrastructure in setting up businesses and economic development. He also invited countries present at the forum to invest in India and promises them proper infrastructural facilities in the country.
5 वर्ष साल में अपनी इकोनॉमी को दोगुनी करके $5 ट्रिलियन तक पहुंचने का लक्ष्य रखा है। ऐसे समय में तो यह विषय और भी प्रासंगिक और महत्वपूर्ण हो जाता है। साथियों, आज जब भारत में हम विकास को गति देना चाहते हैं तो हमें उभरते हुए ट्रेंड्स को अच्छी तरह समझना होगा और इसलिए आज मैं आपसे ग्लोबल बिजनेसेस को प्रभावित करने वाले 5 बड़े ट्रेंड्स के बारे में बात करना चाहूंगा। पहला ट्रेंड है टेक्नोलॉजी और इनोवेशन का प्रभाव। दूसरा, ग्लोबल ग्रोथ के लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की इंपॉर्टेंस। तीसरा, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स और फ्यूचर ऑफ वर्क में तेजी से हो रहा बदलाव। चौथा, कंपैशन फॉर एनवायरनमेंट। और पांचवा ट्रेंड है बिजनेस फ्रेंडली गवर्नेंस।
And now let's connect with our foreign correspondent Akhilesh Suman, who is present in the newsroom. Akhilesh, what was the Prime Minister's message in Riyadh? How do you see his visit to Saudi Arabia so far?
Aditi, you heard that Prime Minister said that there are 5 parameters of global business in today's world, and all those 5 parameters are present in India. And I know that is why Prime Minister in a way showcased India's growth story, possibilities of investment in India, and he said that in infrastructure itself there is an opportunity of $1 trillion in India. And he said that energy requirement in India is quite important, and global businesses who want to invest in India's energy sector, they are most welcome and their business will be more than profitable. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that India is thinking of, skilling, and in 5 years down the line, rather in 4 years down the line, India will be having almost 30 crore skilled people, and those who are trying to and who are wanting to invest in India, they will be getting, ready human resource who will be able to contribute to the factories, infrastructure sector, manufacturing, in whichever sector investment will come, you will be having India's skilled people. And the fourth thing is, he said that in the World Trade Organization and World Trade negotiation, there should be also negotiation on human resources, because India's human resources are quite important. Wherever they have gone, they have created an affinity, and they have been showing that they are very disciplined workforce all over the world. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi showcased India's opportunities in investment, and he also showcased that how Indian human resources can contribute to the world. So I think these were the two important factors. Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave a message to the world that India's human resources are able to contribute everywhere, and India's investment opportunity in the country is very important, whoever wants to come. So I think these were the two important messages Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave to the foreign future investment summit in Riyadh today.
Thank you so much for that information, Akhilesh ji. So before his meeting with the Saudi king, top ministers of the Gulf nation called on Prime Minister Modi on Tuesday and discussed ways to further deepen bilateral ties in areas of energy, labour, agriculture and water technologies. PM Modi held a discussion with Saudi Arabia's Environment, Water and Agriculture Minister towards exploring newer areas of cooperation in the agriculture, food processing and water technologies. The Saudi Energy Minister also had a productive meeting with the Prime Minister, and the two leaders talked about efforts to improve energy cooperation between the two nations. Minister of Labour and Social Development also called on the Prime Minister and had a discussion. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met King Abdullah II of Jordan in Riyadh. The two leaders discussed a range of issues to strengthen the bilateral ties by enhancing cooperation in several areas, including trade and investment and counter-terrorism. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is on a two-day visit to Saudi Arabia on Tuesday, held a bilateral meeting with Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud in Riyadh. During the talks, the two leaders exchanged views on working closely together to strengthen the bilateral ties. They also discussed cooperation in oil and gas, maritime security, renewable energy, trade and investment between the two countries.
Both leaders expressed their deep satisfaction at the excellent state of relations between India and Saudi Arabia, at the important decisions taken during the visit of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia to India, and expressed their happiness at the Strategic Partnership Council which is being launched. Both leaders agreed that this high-level mechanism will strengthen partnership in all areas, including political, defense and security, culture and people-to-people contacts, trade and investments, etc.
Both leaders also condemned terrorism in all its forms and manifestations and agreed to step up bilateral security cooperation. The two countries are expected to sign several agreements in areas like defense industries collaboration, security cooperation, renewable energy, among others.
MOU on defense industries collaboration. Second is an agreement on security cooperation. The bilateral air services agreement. MOU on cooperation in renewable energy. MOU on cooperation of medical products regulation, MOU on drug demand reduction and prevention of local trafficking in narcotic drugs, etc. MOU between the Indian Strategic Petroleum Reserves Limited and Saudi Aramco. MOU between the Foreign Service Institutes, the diplomatic institutes of both countries. Agreement between the Indian Oil Corporation, Middle East, and the Al Jairi Corporation of Saudi Arabia. This is for downstream cooperation in Saudi Arabia for retail outlets. MOU on the Atal Innovation Mission. MOU between the two stock exchanges. MOUs on Hajj-related cooperation, and also MOU on RuPay card.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Tuesday delivered the first Arunjaitley Memorial Lecture on strengthening of parliamentary institutions in the country at Delhi University. Addressing the gathering, Naidu unveiled a 16-point reform charter for effective functioning of parliament, state legislatures.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has suggested a 16-point reform agenda for strengthening parliamentary institutions. Delivering the first Arunjaitley Memorial Lecture at Delhi University on Tuesday, the Vice President urged political parties to ensure attendance of at least 50% of their legislators throughout the proceedings of the houses by adopting a roster system.
Lawmakers should abide by the rules of the House and political parties to take their responsibility in this regard by evolving and enforcing a code of conduct. Making rules that automatically take effect against earning members in the case of interruptions and disruptions. Political parties to evolve a roster system for ensuring attendance of at least 50% of their members in the legislature all through the proceedings of the House every day to address the issue of lack of quorum.
The Vice President further said that the parliamentary system can be strengthened only if its roots, the democratic values, are strong. He called for a new political consciousness, urging all stakeholders to review their mindset with regard to their roles and responsibilities, saying there is scope for substantial improvement in the functioning of parliamentary institutions.
Parliamentary system lie in the democratic ideal and they have to be fostered outside the confines of Parliament and among the masses of the people. Unless the roots are vitalized from time to time and made to acquire self-developing potentialities, the branches of the system represented by the Parliament and the state legislature cannot draw the necessary sustenance.
Lauding the contributions of late Arunjaitley, Naidu described him as a multitasker and multifaceted genius. Naidu said that Jaitley made a unique contribution in addressing the imbalance in the prevailing dominant political thinking in the country.
Sri Arunjaitley was a multitasker and a multifaceted genius who made him rise to DG heights in a quick time. He left an indelible mark of his own on a wide range of issues concerning our nation's public life, which includes articulation of a new ideological perspectives on major national issues with clarity of thought and force of articulation.
Arunjaitley, who died in August this year, was an alumnus of Delhi University. His wife and 2 children also attended the lecture. Mohammad Fateh Tipu's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
President Ramnath Kovind on Tuesday presented this year's National Corporate Social Responsibility Awards to select companies for their outstanding contribution in the area of corporate social responsibility. The companies were shortlisted from a total of 528 entries received this year. National CSR Awards are instituted by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs to encourage best practices in CSR and to recognize the efforts of companies that have utilized funds marked for CSR innovatively and effectively.
I congratulate all the winners and those who have found honorable mentions in the various categories of the National CSR Awards. I commend the whole corporate sector for its contributions towards society over and above creation of wealth and jobs. It is heartening to see companies competing in good deeds. The 17 goals with 169 targets are to be achieved by 2030. I am confident that we will achieve all targets well in time. In fact, on the parameter of sanitation, India has achieved the target far ahead of the time. The advent of an effective CSR regime is indeed a timely development in this context. I sincerely hope that innovative solutions to persisting development challenges will emerge from the CSR activities.
Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar on Tuesday met Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu at his residence in New Delhi. Manohar Lal Khattar took oath as Haryana CM on October 27th. The Chief Minister also extended an invitation to Vice President to inaugurate International Geeta Mahotsav 2019. Meanwhile, Haryana's Deputy CM and JJP founder Dushyant Chautala also called on Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu. With this, we'll halt in for a quick breather, but we'll be back soon. Stay tuned with us. Welcome back. You're still with us on News Tonight. A delegation of 23 European Union MPs reached Srinagar on Tuesday, beginning a two-day visit to assess the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. The delegation was briefed by the state's Chief Secretary and Police Chief as they were the first high-level foreign visitors to Kashmir after the revocation of Article 370. With members of the public, including newly elected panchayat members and councillors. The EU parliamentarians termed the visit as good, saying it was a first-hand experience and that they loved the interaction with the locals. The team originally comprised 27 parliamentarians, but 4 did not travel to Kashmir and have reportedly returned to their respective countries. On Monday, the members of the European Parliament had met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Delhi.
And I think this situation here in Kashmir has now grown into a global situation because the terrorism is mostly financed by Pakistan and by other Muslim countries, and we have to, the terrorist attacks by those groups are a global problem, and therefore probably here in Kashmir lays one of the keys to solve it.
My first visit to Kashmir, I'm very impressed. First of all, by the beauty, and secondly, because we met a lot of activists, young people who want really to make peace here, and they are fed up with all the terrorist attacks. And we see that they see this visit of the European Union after the decision of the 5th of August as a sign of hope.
Terrorists shot dead 5 non-local labourers in Kulgam district of Kashmir on Tuesday evening, police said. One person was hospitalized with serious injuries. The attack took place on a day when European Union MPs are touring Kashmir to understand the ground reality after the abrogation of special status under Article 370 for the state. Since the centre's decision on Article 370, terrorists have been targeting truckers and labourers, mainly who have come to the valley from outside of Kashmir. Justice Sharad Arvind Bobde was on Tuesday appointed as the 47th Chief Justice of India. Justice Bobde will take oath as a CJI on November 18th, a day after incumbent Ranjan Gogoi demits office. He will have a tenure of 17 months and would demit office on April 23, 2021. Justice Bobde has served as a former Chief Justice of the Madhya Pradesh High Court and was elevated to the Supreme Court in April 2013. Three Indians make their way to the top 10 best performing CEOs list of 2019 by Harvard Business Review. Adobe's Shantanu Narayan, MasterCard's Ajay Banga, and Microsoft's Satya Nadella are among the top 10 best-performing chief executives in the world. While Narayan ranks 6th in the list, Banga has been placed at 7th position and Nadella at 9th position. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang tops the list. Benchmark indices gained the most in 3 weeks on Tuesday as investors lapped up shares of blue-chip companies amid reports that the government was planning to abolish the dividend distribution tax along with the newly introduced buyback tax. The BSE Sensex gained 582 points or 1.5% to end at 39,831, a level last seen on July 4th. The Nifty 50 index gained 160 points or 1.4% to close at 11,787. Under the dividend distribution tax, companies are at present subjected to a 15% tax on the total dividend distributed to their shareholders. The abolition of DDT is a long-pending demand of companies as it results in double taxation. And now let's talk about news related to environment and climate change. High Mountain Summit is being held from October 29th to 31st at the World Meteorological Organization's headquarters in Geneva. More than 150 institutions and stakeholders are participating in the conference. The summit seeks better cooperation between governments, researchers and space agencies to fight the effects of climate change globally. Mountain-sourced water supplies provide about half of all drinking water worldwide. Rising temperatures melt glaciers and change precipitation patterns and river levels, affecting the availability of fresh water. To cope with the effects of climate change on water systems, dams have to be redesigned and irrigation systems need to be overhauled. The summit is expected to create the Integrated High Mountain Observation and Prediction Project, which intends to help deal with hazards through early warning systems. The doors of the Kedarnath and Yamunotri temples were closed on Tuesday for winters. While the gates of Kedarnath were closed at 8:30 a.m., those of Yamunotri were closed at 12:25 p.m. A record nearly 10 lakh devotees paid obeisance at Kedarnath this season, the highest ever footfall recorded by the centuries-old shrine. Around 1,200 devotees attended the closing ceremony at Kedarnath Tuesday morning. An idol of the presiding deity, Lord Shiva, was loaded into a flower-bedecked palanquin to be carried to the Omkareshwar temple at Ukhimat, where he will be worshipped during the next 6 winter months. The doors of Badrinath will close on 17th November, bringing to an end the Char Dham Yatra. US President Donald Trump has said the person likely to be first in line to replace Islamic State's slain leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi has also been terminated. Trump, however, did not identify this person or give any more details on how he was killed. The elusive Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was killed in a daring nighttime raid by US Special Forces deep in northwest Syria on Sunday. In a televised address from the White House, President Trump said that US forces killed a large number of IS terrorists during the raid, which culminated in cornering Baghdadi in a tunnel where he set off a suicide vest. And with this, it's a wrap on this edition of News Tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.